4 men suspected of having conspired to financially support the Somalia-based Alqaeda-linked Alshabab militant group have been sentenced by a United States federal court. The 4 have been accused of attempts to remit money to the Alshabab network through the local money remittance system known as Hawala.
A United States federal court in San Diego ruled prison terms for Somali men convicted of providing support to the Somali Al-Qaeda-linked group Al-Shabaab.
Well, I mean, you know, when you are in a foreign country outside of Somalia, you have to respect the law, rule of law within that country. And you know, if you commit a crime, and then you must pay the price. However, I think any trial must truly be a just trial. And you know, hopefully, you know, they received, you know, due process, and you know, things were done right.
Following a 3-week trial, a federal jury found that the 4 Somali men conspired to raise money for Al-Shabaab. The 4 were accused of conspiring to transfer funds for Al-Shabaab from San Diego to Somalia through a now defunct money remittance agency. Investigators have said the 4 men, one of them a popular imam, had conspired to raise money and send funds for the Al-Shabaab via the local money remittance system, commonly known as Hawala. This sheds light on how much of foreign involvement and finance is part of Al-Shabaab's resources.
As far as resources for Al-Shabaab, we truly believe there's a great amount of involvement from outside the country, and that is truly what's causing the issue for us. And you know, we are going to have to come up with a system where we can combat that and stop the foreign influence to Al-Shabaab.
It emerged that a Canadian national was one of the 6 suicide bombers who detonated at the courthouse complex on April 14.
These Somali young men who blew themselves up have been brainwashed by others who are not even Somalis. They were either born or brought up abroad, and it is there where they have been brainwashed.
Somali authorities have since said that several experienced foreign fighters were part of the most deadly extremist attack in the capital's law courts complex. Mohammed Hirmogi, CCTV, Mogadishu.
Well, let's get more from Mohammed Hirmogi, who's joining us now live from the Somali capital, Mogadishu. Mohammed, 4 men there sentenced by a U.S. federal court. How has the public and the authorities in Somalia reacted to this development?
Because the public don't seem to give much prominence to what goes on the world beyond their borders, because they're so preoccupied with the security situation over here that has somehow become seesaw, that has somehow become a little unreliable. Therefore, the public don't give much prominence to what happens in the United States or maybe the world beyond their borders. Therefore, according to the authorities over here, you've just heard in my report over there what the former defense minister said. He said that the important thing is that due process was followed, and if a jury, an independent jury, found out that these men were guilty of that offense, then let the rule of law take its course. He said that actually the Somali government needs to be helped cut down the finances that come from abroad, and in general the foreign involvement of the Al-Shabaab. And he says that's what boosts the Al-Shabaab over here, and that has caused an issue for them over time. And therefore he said every person has to accept the laws of the land where he lives. And he says when these men were caught and it became, after investigation, it became clear that they were guilty of this offense, then it said there's no problem with that, and indeed they do welcome.
Mohammed, is this though an indication that there has been external funding and foreign involvement in Al-Shabaab's activities?
Yeah, Beatrice, this is just one scenario that is actually a testament to the amount of foreign involvement in the war over here. Because we know there are 2 American-born who are top leaders of the Al-Shabaab and who have been here, and which recently the State Department has placed bounties on their head. The 2 are Jihad Mustafa and Alabama-born Omar Hamami, commonly known as Abu Mansur al-Amriki. Therefore, the U.S. State Department has recently said, placed 5 million bounties on the heads of those 2 men. And that means that much there is foreign involvement. Even American-borns themselves, not Somalis from the diaspora, are involved in the war over here. Besides, in April 14th, at the lethal courthouse complex explosion, there has been revelations came later on that there was a Canadian Somali who was part of the team, actually, who probably wore a suicide vest. Therefore, that much there is foreign involvement over here. Besides, The president told me in my interview a little earlier this year that Al-Shabaab have two components. The first component, he said, are the locals. And what the message to the locals is this country is yours, let's save it together. The message, therefore, he gave to the foreigners, he said, which formed the major component of Al-Shabaab was, let them leave their country. They're not Somalis indeed. And therefore, that actually indicates that indeed there is too much foreign involvement in the war over here, Beatrice.
All right, Mohammed Hirmoga joining us there from the Somali capital, Mogadishu.